Hi, welcome back to Half-Light, where breaking rules is the only rule. Have you ever taken a picture without no premeditation, no plan, just pure instincts, and then it turned out to be one of your favorite pictures? Well, this is what ad hoc photography is all about. So let's jump right in and go and break some rules. Today I'm going to talk a little bit about ad hoc photography. What is it? Why is it important, or why can it be important to your workflow? How to approach it, and what are ultimately the benefits, and how to to best take advantage of all the benefits and good stuff it has to offer. So think of ad hoc photography a little bit like going to a hockey game, for example, or basketball game with your focus set to manual, and then you end up taking the best picture. It's a little bit like that. So it's all about the unexpected, and obviously it's all about the unexpected and unplanned. There is the intention, of course, and there is the purpose, because when you go into ad hoc, your purpose is to take pictures. You have the intention of taking pictures, but there's absolutely no planning. What? What does aperture taste like? Are you serious? I'm making a Sorry, a little bit of a contextual interference. So what is ad hoc photography? Think of it a little bit like visual journaling. If you ever done journaling, you know how it goes. At the end of the day, you sit down, you reflect on your thoughts and what happened on that day, and then you just write it down. So basically, you summarize things in hindsight. But there's a great deal of improvisation because no 2 days are the same. So you're gonna have to improvise by putting things down into your journal. And ad hoc photography is a little bit like that, with a notable difference that you're not thinking in hindsight. You are right there at the moment and reacting to things around you. So with ad hoc photography, you have intention, you have the purpose, but you have zero planning. And ad hoc photography is a great way to flex your creativity muscles. It will train your eyes, because you have to be aware of your surroundings. You have to be ready to react. You know you want to take pictures, but you don't know what's going to happen. And this will really develop your sharpen your senses, all senses really, that you need in photography, because it becomes a habit really. If you do it a lot, it will become habitual and basically your second nature. Ad hoc photography can be a lot of fun, and I think it comes naturally that most of us photographers, or maybe even all of us, or close to all of us, I think when we start doing photography, you have the adrenaline sky high and you are excited. You just want to take pictures. And you just naturally jump in, you grab your camera, and you don't plan, you don't think ahead, you just go and, shoot some pictures.
I just want to bring something up. So as you probably noticed, or hopefully noticed from my video, I'm kind of metaphysical in certain ways. And one of the things that fascinate me are wholes. The existence or non-existence of them depends how you look at it, because ultimately whole is the absence of whatever is around the whole. So whole is a concept. So strictly photographically speaking, there's this question in my mind that lingers: can you take a picture of a whole by focusing on the whole, even if you do that manually? I find it pretty fascinating, and I don't know what the answer to that question is really. I just wanted to raise it.
One very important consequence of practicing ad hoc photography that is that it helps you developing your style. We all have our style, even if we are not aware of it. You have your style regardless. And by practicing ad hoc photography, because you are exposed to unexpected moments and situations and circumstances, you are bombarded with these things and you are forced to react. You will inevitably start building your style. And as you are more and more engaged in ad hoc photography, a lot of these elements of your style, whether you're aware of it or not, will basically start to fall into their rightful places, and you will gain clarity of what is my style actually, where am I going with this, which part of it is that I really enjoy, which part of it, the photography, is that I really excel, that kind of stuff. Why would you practice ad hoc photography? Well, apart from the reasons I already mentioned, it really encourages experimentation, and experimentation is super important in any form of art, but I would say in photography that is definitely the case.
And I just want to add that experimenting is really super important in photography, because that is an excellent way of giving ourselves permission to kind of do some things that are maybe extreme, or just weird, and let's do them, And I think it's an important part of our creative journey as photographers. And back to me, the other one.
So ad hoc photography is also a lot of fun, and it's low pressure because you don't have really expectations. I wouldn't say exactly that it is low stress. It can be stressful, especially if you are not trained, your mind is not trained, because things can happen so fast is that you get overwhelmed, and that can lead to some stressful situation. Maybe you keep missing, you have one of those days, you keep missing those critical moments, or you have the wrong settings, that kind of stuff. So that can be frustrating, but it's also kind of trains you to not fall into that gap. So practicing ad hoc photography also helps you to be more disciplined. And oh boy, discipline is very super important when it comes to ad hoc photography in general. And by practicing, you just become much more like self-focused, in a good way, like self-focused on what you're doing, on your basically on channeling that creativity, because we channel creativity. It comes from somewhere, and we just channel it somewhere else. And by gaining this discipline, you are more in control of this of your creativity. So ad hoc photography has some limitations, of course. First of all, it feels, because it is directionless, it just really happens. And with ad hoc photography, kind of you have the feeling it lacks story behind it. And again, I talked about this in my video number one, actually, where I said, that stories are not necessarily something you need to have in your pictures, but then again, it's good to have them also, And also, ad hoc photography lacks consistency in lots of ways, because there is basically very little to be consistent about, apart from the fact that you are continuously prepared to react. So why would you practice ad hoc photography? Well, the chances are you already had practiced, and you should continue doing so consciously. I don't think you should ever get rid of it. Just embrace it and have fun. I mean, ad hoc photography are this whole box of, like ludicrous craziness, because it's so much fun, it's so unpredictable, and so many things can happen that it would be a shame to kind of not practice it. So go for it, have fun. That is really the gym of photography, because when you go to a gym, you do some, core exercises, you do some weightlifting, you do some cardio, a little bit of everything to kind of strengthen your character, your entire body, And ad hoc photography is a little bit like that, because you try this, you try that, you do lots of things in an unorganized manner, but ultimately all these will contribute to building up your core strength in photography. And then as a consequence, as a result of this, you will naturally start jumping into other strategies, which I'm going to discuss in my other videos, such as plant photography or accidental photography, which is, by the way, not the same as ad hoc photography. If you like my videos, please subscribe. That would really mean the world to me, and you will be supporting my work. Also, please share and like this video, and add some comments. What are your thoughts on ad hoc photography? What is your experience? And maybe even share some of your favorite ad hoc photos. I would really love to see them. I truly appreciate you spending your time on this video. Thank you for watching, and see you next time. Now go and break some rules. Bye.